السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. طيب، بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رحمة المهداة والنعمة المزان والاه. ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. أما بعد, we are in the book of Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah, and he's talking about now of the blameworthy behavior of showing off. And we have stopped for Ramadan the showing off of through material world, through clothing. Huh? Yes, that's what we stopped. Huh? Yeah, but I want just to go back a little bit to the Riya'u bil Qawl. He says that after he talked about showing off through clothing, housing, cars, and he didn't talk about cars, but talking about material world. Then he talked to the Riya of bil Qawl, showing off. Person try to indicate that he knows better than the others, more eloquent, can defeat anyone who debate them. Of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than others. Or a person shows that he cares about what is right and wrong more than the others. Like correcting people publicly, scolding them. You don't know the sunnah. Those people are holier than thou. You know who those people? Who try to show that they're holier than others and looking down to people. You're not religious enough. You're not good enough. I'm more religious than you, and more this and that. This is another showing off. Actually, one of the biggest diseases of the heart is to get this false feeling that you're actually better than others in terms of closeness to God. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how close we are to Him. A person should think the best of Allah, but he should not show off that he or she are more religious. And there's some people, they give advices to people, but advice not being solicited. And they insist on their advice to be followed because their way of doing things better than others. When it comes to religion and following the Quran and Sunnah, قال والأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر بمشهد الخلق. Person correcting people in public, sometimes try to humiliate them. وإظهار الغضب للمنكرات وإظهار الأسف على مقارفة الناس للمعاصي. That a person also ضعيف الصوت بالكلام وطريقة الصوت بقراءة القرآن. Said sometimes people try to speak in a manner that shows that they're humble, or that the way they recite the Quran, they're showing off. Or a person claim that they memorize more hadith. And then the little knowledge that a person has to try to blow up their ego, blowing up their ego by saying that they are scholars, but they don't know that much. And sometimes they try to do what they call it jarh wa ta'deel. They start questioning this scholar, that is scholar, that is scholar, and creating a web page. I'm going to list all people who are deviant, and putting the scholars who are highly respected scholars in their website. You ask them, what criteria do you have? My criteria is me. Who criticized me then? Who can check you? You're checking everybody else. That is arrogance. That is arrogance. The definition of arrogance is in that website. And then he said there's a mura'at, where people try to impress people by memorizing more poetry or saying things as vocabulary that is strange. A person said, I spoke in language that no one even could understand me. What's the purpose of speaking? Using vocabularies and expressions that you have to people go to the dictionary. For what purpose? The whole purpose of a speech is to convey information, not to impress people with how much you know vocabularies. The fourth type of riya is riya bil-amal, showing off through action. كمراءة المصلي بطول القيام ومد الظهر وطول السجود والركوع وإطلاق الرأس. He said the person may make a long prayer, and the way they exaggerate even their ruku' and their sujood, they expand themselves all the way in there. Long time in leading people prayer. By himself is not riya because he's not showing off in front of others. He said that a person maybe want to impress people how much Quran they know. Make a long salah. Yes. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he asked me, Brother Rida, is recommended that not to make a prayer too long. Yes. There's a hadith that a man, a Sahabi, great Sahabi companion, his name Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Mu'adh ibn Jabal used to pray with Rasul sallallahu and then go and lead his people in prayer. But he led a long salah. There's a Bedouin man, prayed behind him. He wanted him to make ruku', he didn't make a ruku', he kept reciting Quran. He said, I'm getting out of this. He prayed by himself and left. And then Mu'adh ibn Jabal was told, said, this guy left the salah, prayed by himself. He said, maybe he's munafiq. He made an assumption about him. The man heard that Mu'adh ibn Jabal accused him to be hypocrite. Munafiq means hypocrite. He went to complain to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, left the salah, and this man called me hypocrite. Rasulullah asked him, why did you leave the salah? He said, because he prayed too long, and I have a camel to take care of. I don't have time to pray too long. So Rasulullah called Mu'adh ibn Jabal, radiyallahu anhu, قال فتان أنت يا معاذ فتان أنت يا معاذ. Oh Mu'adh, are you the one who want to test people in the religion? Put him to test. Put him in the test that he has to leave the prayer. Then he said we should have recite Surah Al-Layl, Surah Al-Shams. He gave him like the options. And it is true that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to did salah, and he started a new surah after the Fatiha. Then he hears the crying of a child behind him. Then he doesn't complete the surah, he goes to ruku'. He said because he doesn't want to make it difficult on the parents of that child. But this is how we do things. When you make a long sujood in leading prayer, you have somebody who have asthma, they may not be able to breathe. Somebody have mask on. Somebody has migraine headache, maybe. People may not comfortable. But you do the sunnah, the minimum. Subhan Rabbil A'la bihamdi. Subhan Rabbil A'la bihamdi. Subhan A'la bihamdi. Subhan Rabbil A'la. 3 times. And then, even if you make a short dua, Al-Maghfir lana warhamna. Allah forgive our sin, have mercy upon us. That's enough. But making too long sajda, make it difficult on people behind you. When a person pray by themselves, you can make the longest sujood you can want to make the longest ruku' you like to make. But when you lead people, as in the hadith, that because there's elderly people, there's sick people, some people have conditions, health conditions, that do not allow them to stand for a long time. You have to be careful on that. And then he gave examples that people also make showing off not only the physical appearance of the prayer, but also with fasting and fighting for the sake of Allah, with hajj, with sadaqah, with amal ta'am, even the way how they walk and so forth. All of this is something that a person has to be careful. You have to remember that there's some people who have naturally walk in a particular way. That's not showing off. The person pretend religiosity and so forth so that people can see them doing that. It is where the showing off that prohibited. Also, the showing off in walking arrogantly and showing a lot of muscles. Person come to the masjid wearing cut shirt, and showing the muscle. Why are you showing your muscle to people? For what reason? Huh? Keep it to yourself. Yeah, impress people. Why you do that? For that is another problem that people have, working arrogantly. I told you this statement of Imam Ali, radallahu anhu, karamallahu wajhuh. Imam Ali saw a man walking very arrogantly in Kufa. But he said to him, man, this walk, Allah does not like. هذه مشية لا يرضاها الله. Don't walk like that. I'm a very wealthy guy. And he looked at the Imam, he said, do you know who I am? Do you know me? And he doesn't know this Imam Ali. He said, do you know who? He said, yeah, I know who you are. I said, who am I? Maybe you have not seen me in Wall Street, first page, front line. We call this the first page. We have not seen me in New York Times. He said, I know who you are. He said, who am I? He said, you are the human being that his beginning was liquid, of no significance. And the end of his life will be a body that will rotten. No one would like to keep. While you are alive, you have a need to go to the bathroom. That's who you are. أنت الذي أولك نصفة مذرة وآخرك جيفة قذرة بينهما تحمل العذرة. This was a human being. Person should not. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about عباد الرحمن. He said the servant of Rahman. قال وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا. The servant of the merciful, Ar-Rahman, they walk on earth with humility. And Luqman said to his son, وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. Don't walk with arrogance. Don't be arrogantly. walking with arrogance. إنك لن تخرق الأرض. You will not be able to penetrate the earth. He said to the Quran says that don't walk with arrogance because you will not be able to penetrate the earth. واقصد في مشيك واقصد من صوتك. Sorry, Quran said to his son, walk with humility. don't walk with arrogance. But another verse in the Quran says, ولا تمشي في الأرض مرحا. Don't walk with arrogance on earth. The fifth, this is something that is a big problem now in America. المراءة بالأصحاب والزائرين والمخالطين كالذي يتكلف أن يستثير عالم من العلماء ليقال أن فلانا قد زار فلانا عابدا من العباد فيقول أن أهل الدين يتبركون بزيارته ويترددون إليه أو ملكا من الملوك أو عاملا من عمال السلطان يقال منه يتبركون به لعظم رتبته في الدين. A person who seeks attention, social attention, want to be always in the spotlight, limelight, and he or she seek to be always on the spotlight, and therefore when they claim that they know so many scholars or they wanted to have so much like in their Facebook or in the Twitter, and they say, oh, so-and-so, look, so-and-so is following me. You know that follow things? Who follow me? That is a sickness that comes into the person's heart because of low self-esteem. It's a psychological issue, low self-esteem, because when you seek recognition of people to validate your existence, you have a problem of not respecting yourself. We have to not seek validations of our existence from other people. You've been honored by Allah as a human being. Karamna bani Adam. Every human being has value. And our value comes from our relationship with Allah, not with a relationship with human being. When we put our value in human being, we have degraded ourselves. Seriously. العزة لله. العزة, dignity belongs to Allah, ولرسوله وللمؤمنين. Dignity belongs to Allah and His Messenger and to the believers. For a person, قال من ابتقى العزة بغير الله أذله الله. Whoever seeks dignity from other than Allah, then will be humiliated. من ابتقى العز من غير ذي العز ذل. Whoever seeks dignity and honor from the other than the one who have all the dignity will be humiliated. But a person should seek the dignity and the honor from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the value of human being depends on the relationship with Allah. The value of human being depends on the relationship with Allah. As Rasulullah sallam said, إن الله يرفع بهذا الكتاب قوما يضع آخرين. Allah elevated with this Quran some people and put some people down. And he said also that people impress people by who their teachers are, and they want to show off of their level of sanad, of connection to shuyukh. He said also that some people would like to, they isolate themselves from the dunya so that they look like zahid, like a person disconnect or dissociate themselves from the material world. And he said some people do this so that to get also the influence of people. Then he says, إطلاق اللسان بالثناء ومنهم من يريد انتشار الصيت في البلاد. Is that some people want to also be known so people can travel to seek knowledge from them. And some people like to have to say that they have connections, and so that people come to them and seek their intercessions. And he said, فَإِنْ قُلْتَ الرِّيَاء فَالرِّيَاءُ حَرَامٌ أَمْ مَكْرُوهٌ مُبَاحٌ. He said, if you might ask me a question, showing off, is it haram or makruh, disliked, or permissible? What do you think? 3 questions, 3 categories. Showing off is haram or makruh, disliked, or mubah, permissible. فأقول فيه تفصيل فإن الرياء هو طلب الجاه. He said riya is seeking prestige, acknowledgement of people. وإما أن يكون بالعبادات, if a person seek being acknowledged through ibadah, act of worship, أو بغير العبادات, or other than act of worship. فإن كان بغير العبادات فهو كطلب المال فلا يحرم حيث أنه طلب منزلة في قلوب العباد. Showing off has a level of dunya and the level of ibadah, rituals. If somebody wants to seek a job, what do you do when you want to apply for a job? Make a resume. In your resume, what do you say? I know this, I know this, I know that, I went to this school. Is that showing off? In some level, a little bit. But it's okay showing off. Not seeking the people to acknowledge your skills so that they hire you. But he said this is mubah. It's permissible. Like Yusuf alayhi salam. قال اجعلني على خزائن الأرض. He said to the king, hire me to take care of the treasure. I'm wise and I'm knowledgeable. That is fine. That's not showing off. Like if somebody says, I want somebody to teach Quran in this masjid. And somebody says, I have ijaza, I can teach Quran. That's not showing off in itself. It's not showing off because the person I'm qualified. How he teach and so forth, and how they represent themselves later, that will show whether they have a sincerity problem or not. قال ولكن كما لا يمكن كسب المال بالتلبيسات وأسباب محظورات فكذلك الجاه. فإن كسب القليل من المال يحتاج إليه إنسان محمود فكسب القليل من الجاه هو ما يسلم به من العفات أيضا محمود. Now he says that a person don't lie, not exaggerating their skills. Because a person sometimes might carry it away, the exaggerating who they are, the skill set. And he said, والذي طلبه يوسف عليه السلام. Yusuf عليه السلام said, حيث قال, إني حفيظ عليم. I'm trustworthy, I'm knowledgeable. قال وكما أن المال فيه سمو الناقع وترياق النافع فكذلك الجاه. He said, seeking wealth and seeking prestige and positions, it has poison, but also has benefit. كما أن كثير المال يلهي ويطغي وينسي ذكر الله والدار الآخرة فكذلك كثير الجاه بل أشد. He said, a person who may seek wealth by misrepresenting themselves, by giving misinformation, and that would be not good for them. Or a person seek prestigious positions by not being honest about it. But he said, even if you seek it in halal, you have to be careful not to have it to get to your heart, not to have a lot of money distract you, or the power that you may have, or prestige you may have, distract you from being aware of our weaknesses as human beings, so that we do not become arrogant with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. وفتنة الجاه أعظم من فتنة المال. It's true. Power has more fitna than wealth. By the way, let me just say something here. in the Quran, Allah connect power with money. They are related. Because usually a person has money, has some power. But the person had the power will get the money because of the power. Especially in corrupt places in the world. The more a person has power, the more that he can abuse their power to get more money. You read in the Quran, مَا أَغْنَى عَنِّي مَالِيَ. What's after that? هَلَكَ عَنِّي سُلْطَانِيَ. My money have not helped me, and my power been purged, vanished. مَا أَغْنَى. My money have not helped me, and my power vanished. That means that's the relationship between power and money. Musa alayhi salam said, ربنا إن أتيت إيش فرعون. He said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you give Fir'aun amwal, يضل عن سبيلك. Allah, you give them so much money that بلطمس على أموالهم. مش كده؟ مس على قلوبهم. He said, Allah, take away their wealth and punish them. لا يؤمنوا حتى يروا العذاب الأليم. They will not believe until they've been punished severely. So Musa alayhi salam connected wealth of Fir'aun, and that made him to mislead people. But the point here is that there's a fitna of power is greater than the fitna of the money. Why? Because people use money to get power. They can let go of money, they spend money, an election and so forth. They can spend a lot of money to get the power. They sacrifice money for the power, because power is very, very attractive. For a person has to be careful of how he uses the power. He says, ولا يقدر محب الجاه والمال على ترك معاصي القلب واللسان وغيرها. He said, a person who loves so much prestige and power and money will not be able to prevent their heart from committing sins, nor their tongue. أما سعة الجاه من غير حرص منك على طلبه ومن غير اهتمام بزواله زال فلا ضرر فيه. He said, this is something, Imam Ghazali always balanced in his approach to this. He said a person may become known and highly respected around the world, like Imam al-Bukhari, for example. He seek hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the become known. All of you know Imam Nawawi, don't you? Imam Nawawi. He lived in the age of 45. He died in the age of 45. But he was known around the world. He didn't seek that. Imam Ghazali himself. I did not go to any Muslim countries. I traveled maybe 57 countries. Any place with Muslims, and I mentioned that I love Ghazali, no one told me like who's Ghazali. So far. I find somebody who knows who's Ghazali is. 57 countries. Somebody will know who's Ghazali is. This man, at the time, he didn't know that he would be known around the country, world. Many people have done PhD, master's degree in Imam al-Ghazali. Imam Ghazali never knew that they would do that. Many translations of this book to many languages. He said, if a person must seek it, it is not obsessed with jah. But Allah give them the jah. And even if jah become one known, the person become known. If they does not seek it and does not get to their hearts, that is okay. But the person have to do a lot of mujahada. If a person comes in the room, they believe that people should stand up for them. Something wrong with their hearts. Rather than whoever seek people standing for hadith, standing for them, a person have arrogance. He does not demand. Don't get upset people don't stand. Did not stand up for you. Or he come to the place that says, I'm supposed to sit in the first line. And if they don't have a space in the first line, there's people who have no adab, no akhlaq. That's a problem. Sickness in the heart. Person could, in a social gathering, Should not demand. They might, people say, please come and sit here. That's fine. But the person should not look and say like, no one recognizes me, I'm leaving. That is arrogance. أجلس حيث انتهى بك المجلس. Sit whatever place is available. That's very important. He says, في ترجيح عظم فتنة المال وترجيح على مباشرة ما لا يجوز نعمة انصراف الهم إلى سعة. He said the person should not have انصراف الهم إلى سعة الجاه, meaning a person become occupied to increase his like in Facebook and spend money to the like and Twitter and so forth. Want to influencer. You hear that? Influencer. Want to become, and there's some people, they track their Facebook so much because they become known. In every hour, they have to look through their phone 3 or 4 times in the Facebook. How many people like this? They tweet something to see how many people like it. Every second. That's an obsession. That's an obsession. If anyone else does this, you need to look through their heart. And by the way, it's good sometimes to separate yourself from the machine. One of the things maybe a person can do, have a time called technology free time. I'm not going to look to my phone for 1 hour, see what your heart is going to say. I'm not going to look at my computer for 1 hour. I'm not going to check my Twitter. I'm not going to check my Facebook. See what your heart is going to do. If your heart not become restless, that means become too much emotionally dependence on social media, acknowledgement. It's not good. قال أما ساعة الإجابة من غير حرص منك على طلب من غير اهتمام بزواله. He said also a person should, if a person become upset and sad because the number of followers, the number went down, that's a problem. But if does not, he doesn't care, فإن زال فلا ضرر فيه. I know a young lady, mashallah, she has a TikTok. And she started having 150,000 followers. The number started increasing. She came to me and says, I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to just delete it, my account. I said, why? He said, because it becomes so much in my heart. I become obsessed. How many people like and so forth and so on. And it's not good for me spiritually. And she deleted. She deleted her account. Because she knew that it's not becoming good for her heart. Because now you have to impress more people. Before having it, not having become equal. قال فلا جاه أوسع من جاه الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said there's no person have more influence than Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم. وجاه الخلفاء الراشدين من بعده من علماء الدين. What the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم was doing, صلى الله عليه وسلم, and those righteous people and scholars, they were doing what Allah wanted them to do, spreading Islam, teaching Islam. They never did it for themselves. Actually, matter of fact, the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have more difficult life after become a prophet before he became a prophet. More difficult life. We never called a liar until he became a prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Never people question him until he became a prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Before that, they called him al-amin, trustworthy, and that kind of thing. But because people don't like what he brought, start to try to undermine his character and so forth by saying horrible things about him, and then physically started hurting him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, 13 years in Mecca of difficult situation. And in Medina, every month was confronted by those people. ولكن انصراف الهم إلى طلب الجاه نقصان في الدين. He said when a person become worried about increasing their prestige, is diminishing of the religion, but you cannot say it's haram. ولا يوصف بالتحريم. وعلى هذا نقول تحسين الثوب الذي يلبسه الإنسان عند الخروج إلى الناس مراعاته ليس بحرام. A person wants to dress well when they leave the home, that is not, it's not haram. ولا يوصف ليس بحرام لأنه ليس رياء بالعبادة بل بالدنيا, because a person using something of dunya, not of عبادة. وقس على هذا كل ما تجمل الإنسان وتزين له. الناس تزين لهم. Everything a person dress well, look well, that is not considered haram. والدليل ما روى عن عائشة رضي الله عنها أن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم أراد أن يخرج يوما إلى الصحابة وكان ينظر في جب الماء يسوي عمامته وشعره. He said, and the proof that the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day went about to go to see his companions, and he used the water as a mirror to make sure that his turban and his hair was calm. He combed his hair and فقال وتفعل ذلك يا رسول الله. He said, oh Rasulullah, you care about how you look? Rasul sallam said, yes. إن الله تعالى يحب من العبد أن يتزين لإخوانه إذا خرج إليهم. Allah likes from his servant to look good when he meet his brothers. نعم هذا كان من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عبادة لأنه كان مأمورا به بدعوة الخلق وترغيبهم في الاتباع. He said, but even this from Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is an act of worship because he invited people to Islam. They would have to represent himself well. صلى الله عليه وسلم لو سقط من أعينهم لما رغبوا في اتباعه. It's very important, by the way. This is there's something that we have to think about. How to represent yourself when speaking to other people. If a person going to interview for a job and wear short, should not wear short, but he would not wear proper clothing, more likely to get the job. Dressing well is not riyah, it's not showing off. Even khutbah al-Jum'ah. Even khutbah al-Jum'ah, you have clothes that, decent clothes, but you wear a t-shirt and you wear clothes that's like casual clothes and you give khutbah al-Jum'ah. It is not, you're not respecting the member of Rasulullah. Not respecting the member. Dress well. خذوا زينتكم عند ايش؟ لكل مسجد. When you come to the masjid, dress well. Therefore, that's not showing off. That it become better for us to do so. A person want to speak to a particular group of people about Islam. And how they dress, it can impact how they listen to him or her. And the person should dress well. Yes, sister. It applies for men and women. Dress modestly, and because women is the other aspect of it. Like when a person represents himself in a modest way, which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah put in their heart that people respect to them. But if a person wear clothes that's, revealing and so forth, because now in society it's the opposite. A woman should wear less clothes and reveal herself and so forth to impress people. From Islamic perspective, it's the opposite. The person become modest and wear modest clothes so that people respect them for who they are. Something, and by the way, let me just say something. I know that this is in YouTube. Is it in YouTube? Yeah, Sheikh. Is it online? Okay, good. Keep it online. I'm going to say something. Brothers who come to pray in this masjid, we have complaint from brothers, some brothers. The sisters, they told me the brothers not wearing modest clothes. the clothes that does not cover their behind, and they make a sujood and so forth. A person who comes to the masjid should make sure that they're wearing a cloth, when they make ruku or when they make sujood, then none of their body being exposed. They have to think like that. Therefore, a person should, from home, make sure that the clothes they're wearing does not expose their body when they move. It's just part of modesty. Because people think modesty is all about women modesty. How about men modesty? How much modesty we have when we come to the masjid. And this has been known, been seen in the masjid many times. And people have not brought it up. We tried to bring it up many times, but not brought it up in public as we should. But that is a very important aspect. The person should think about what they're going to wear when they come to the masjid. And they have to be conscious of the clothes that reveals some of their body when they make a ruku or sujood. فإذن المراءة بما ليس من العبادات قد تكون مباحة. He said that to show off or to show some aspect of yourself that people become happy with how you look, as long as it's with permissibility, as the sister was saying, permissible in Islam, it's mubaha. وقد تكون طاعة, it will become an act of worship. قد تكون مذمومة, and then it might be blameworthy. وذلك بحسب الغرض المطلوب بها. That depends of why you're doing it. لذلك نقول الرجل إذا أنفق ماله على جماعة من الأغنياء لا في معرض العبادة والصدقة ولكن يعتقد الناس أنه سخيف هذا مراءة وليس بحرام ولكذلك أمثاله. أما العبادات كالصدقة والصلاة والصيام والغزو والحج والمراء فيما حالتان عندما لا يكون له قصد إلا الرياء المحض دون الأجر وهذا يبطل عبادته لأن الأعمال بالنيات هذا ليس بقصد العبادة لا يقتصر على إحباط عبادته حتى نقول صار كما كان قبل العبادة بل يعصي بذلك ويأثم كما دلت عليه الأخبار والآيات. And I will stop here. I'm going to summarize this for you. Say, if somebody wanted to get a social gathering because about to build a masjid in the neighborhood, and then the neighbors objecting building of the masjid, but he did a social gathering for the neighbor to get to know the Muslims, to show how good Muslim they are and so forth, that's not showing off. That if the intention of to soften the heart of people, it become an act of worship actually, not showing off. But there's something very important though. When we engage in dialogue with people, our intention is not to please them. His intention is to share what we believe with them. Because appeasing and pleasing, if it become the objective, people are going to cross the line. Should not be the objective to please, to appease. And should not come from the place of the need approval. It should come from the place of abundance, something to offer. Something to offer. You know? That psychology is very important. Because then when we have low self-esteem of ourselves as Muslims, and we think that we have to do everything to appease people and to please people, then that way we humiliate ourselves. The other things I want to talk about in hospitality, for example. If somebody comes to my home and I cook nice meal to make them happy, that's not showing off. Because إدخال السرور في نفس المؤمن, bringing happiness to the heart of somebody, is an act of worship. To bring happiness to somebody's heart is an act of worship. For when somebody comes to my home and then I start cleaning my home and make it smell good and so forth, so that when they come They think best of me, think about my family, and so. It's not showing off. Does not make me not getting the reward. Because I'm showing hospitality toward the other person. I'm showing that how I care about them coming to my home. But you should not confuse those things. The riyah that is really haram, showing off, is a person does an act of worship, of rituals, of salah, not for Allah. Giving sadaqah is not for Allah. Doing hajj, not for Allah. For teaching class like this, it's for people to impress people to say, I'm knowledgeable. And that's not for Allah. That's haram. Therefore, it is a very important, those kind of act, Allah will not accept. What is the riyah does? Riyah make the act itself diminished. That itself is a punishment, isn't it? It take away the actions. A person have done the effort, spend the time, then Allah does not accept it. What good is that? وَقَدِمْنَا عَلَى مَا عَمِلُوا مِنْ عَمَلٍ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. Allah said, we looked at their actions and the deeds were made into ashes. The person spend the time, spend the money, and then Allah does not accept it. People seek acknowledgement in dunya, that's temporary acknowledgement. Because I'm going to die, they're going to die. Then what? But you want to do for the sake of Allah. And by the way, if we do it for the sake of Allah, good people are going to acknowledge it. It's going to come with it. But that should not be the objective. Do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and leave it to Allah completely. Any questions? What time is Maghrib? 57? Okay. You have 7 minutes. Questions? Any questions? Yes. Yes. Zina wa amwal. Yes. Prestige. ربنا يدل عن سبيلك ها ربنا اطمس على قلوبهم اطمس على اموالهم واشدد على قلوبهم اطمس على اموالهم واشدد على قلوبهم. Take away their wealth and give them a hard time so that they can remember you. That Musa alayhi salam said. اطمس على اموالهم واشدد على قلوبهم. Any other questions? Brothers, sisters? Any questions? No questions? Whatsoever? Now, the last thing I want to say that I said that at Fajr, but I say it one more time. That when you see an incident take place in the masjid, any incident, we should not rush to videotape things. Now I'm getting more information about what happened on a day. It went all over the world. People are making assumptions and so forth. You know, we should be careful when we spread information and not spread false information. You know, we quick to our TikTok, 100,000 followers. Why? Why so controversial? What is the good of being controversial? Huh? Do you want the likes? But Allah does not like your likes. And what is the most important? If Allah doesn't like you, that's who doesn't matter who likes you. You see what I'm saying? But it's very important for us to think like that. Yes. Yeah. The sister in the hospital. But my point is that, yeah, Allah give her shifa. My point is that this tasting it, that this machine in our pocket, how can I get quick fame, become famous, more famous because I videoed something? Why? Why is it? This is sickness of the heart. We should not do that. Allah guide us. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت تولنا فيمن توليت اكفنا شر ما قضيت إنك تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما تفرقنا من بعيد تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا ولا منا ولا بيننا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار. ادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار برحمتك يا عزيز الغفار. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وصليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم. سبحان ربك بالعزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم. Question after